Today we are looking at one of the most famous planners that's out there. We are taking a look at the Hobonichi Weeks setup. So stay with me. Hi everyone, this is Crystal from A Crystal Clear Life, where we focus on planning, organizing, and living a more simplified life. And today I am coming to you with a subscriber request. I have had a request from someone to set up a Hobonichi Weeks layout in OneNote. So that's what we're going to do today. If that sounds interesting to you, please go ahead and give this video a like. Subscribe if you have not already. And please feel free to share this with anyone else who loves planners, OneNote, or Hobonichi. With all that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into it. I'm excited about this. I personally have never used a Hobonichi Weeks or Cousins or any of the other ones that are out there, but the setup looks interesting, so I'm willing to give it a try. Okay, what you see here on my screen is an image that I took from an Amazon shop that is selling the Hobonichi Weeks layout. Okay, so this I think is a traveler's notebook size, so it's a little bit skinnier than like an A5 half paper size, something like that. But what I wanted to do was just take a look at the setup so that I was sure that I was setting up the right thing for you guys. So let me scroll in and show you what the Hobonichi Weeks pages looks like. Now this is actually the one from Japan. So you'll see a lot of Japanese characters on here. But you'll see at the top there is the month number for April 2026, the Japanese characters for the date, and then 15th is the week number, okay? And then there's a section here where it has the number of the day. So 6 is a Monday, 7 Tuesday, and again, there's the characters that go along with that. This also then happens to have the phase of the moon, okay? So on down all the way, Saturday and Sunday are at the bottom, and Sunday is in red. Then there is a space at the bottom for a quote. Again, it's written in Japanese, which I have been to Japan, but I don't read Japanese, so I can't tell you what that says. Then it looks like here that the background has these little dots on it, along the lines, so that if you wanted to go ahead and divide your page into different, sections or whatever, you could do that. So if you wanted to draw a line here, let's say, let me show you what I'm talking about. If you wanted to draw a line here, like this, and, kind of divide off your page, I guess that you could do that. Same goes with over here. You could divide this way as well if you wanted to. Okay, and so then you would have 3 different sections, or you don't have to do that, I guess. You can just leave it however, you would like to use it. Okay, and then on this side over here, on the right-hand side of your page, you see it is just a grid area, and it has a very faint line down here along the side. I have also seen where other people use it and they draw a line across here. Again, let me draw that for you instead of just saying the words. They will draw a line extending across here so that it seems like a continuous line from the days of the week. And if you wanted to do that, that would be great as well. Okay. And then this 4 out here on the outside is simply for the month. So April is the 4th month, so that if you're flipping through, it's kind of like a little tab on the side. It just happens to be printed on each page. All right. So it's a pretty simplistic layout. And I think that a lot of people love it because of its simplistic layout. Okay. So that's kind of what it looks like. So what I thought I would do today, just kind of for fun, and again, because a subscriber requested it, is I would try to replicate this particular layout. Playing around with it, this is what I've come up with. Okay, let's scroll out so you can see my finished product of my Hobonichi Weeks. And this is what I've come up with. Now, I want to show you how I did this, so I'm going to recreate this over here on the side so that you can see each of these components as we are going. All right? All right, here we go. So I'm going to start over here. I'm going to click my mouse and just get it sitting on the side over there so that I can work in this area next to the Hobonichi Weeks that I've already finished. All right? Again, I like to do everything in tables. I think it lines up very nicely as a table. So what I did here is I went in and I created a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 column table. So I will go up to my insert menu and I will go to table and I will do 6 by 6 to get us started like that. Okay. All right, let me put my glasses on here since I'm kind of far away today. I need to be able to see what I'm talking about. All right, and then I picked a pretty bold font there in the back. I am getting ahead of myself. First of all, you may notice that there is a grid on the back of my page. It's a very small grid. Let me zoom in so that you can see it. Okay, if you did not know this, OneNote allows you to add gridded paper. So let me go up and show you. It's under the View menu, and you can go all the way down to ruled lines, and there you see grid lines. So I have turned on the very smallest grid lines. Okay, there's a bunch of sizes. So there's the next size up, and again, let me scroll in so you can see how big that is for comparison. There's the smallest grid lines. Look at this number 4 here. Then the bigger sized grid lines, the larger, and then they have an extra large right there. Okay. Well, I think for today's purposes, I'm going to use these really small ones because they look more like what the Hobonichi grid lines kind of look like. You know, they're very tiny. All right. Okay. Sorry, I got ahead of myself with the page layout there. Okay, let's get back to our table. So what the Hobonichi Weeks really is a vertical layout, so the days of the week run along the side, all right? The first thing that they do is they put the number of the month. Let me choose for this whole table that I'm doing. I want to choose a font that is nice and big so that you guys can see it. So I'm going to use Cooper Block here, and that's going to be a nice big font. Okay. All right. So I'm going to put the number 4 in this very top box. And remember, that is for the number of the month. Okay. Then I'm going to go over here to the next block, and they have the word April and then 2026 so that you know the month and the year. Okay. And then in the very next block, they have 15th week, like so. Okay. Now, the whole entire second page, as you saw in the diagram that I showed you at the beginning, is just empty space for you to fill in. So I don't have to put any headers over here. Okay, we're going to leave that space blank for now. And then we're going to go down and we're going to start doing that vertical weeks. So the first thing that they do, and again, let me drag this up here so you can see it. If I can zoom in just a little bit more, just to remind you. So we have 4, April, and then 15th week. And then we have 6 and the day of the week. All right, so that's what we're trying to do here. So we're going to go over here and we're going to type 6, and underneath of that, Monday. And then we're going to leave a couple spaces. Maybe you want to put the weather there. Maybe you want to put in what the phase of the moon is. You know, those kinds of things. I'm just going to leave that space where they have the phase of the moons. Okay. And then 7 would be Tuesday. And space for the weather or moon. 8, Wednesday. Space. Thursday. Space. Space. And then when I get down here to the bottom, you see I need extra rows. There's a couple of ways that you can do that. You can either highlight the two, actually I need 3 rows, the 2 or 3 rows that you need. Okay, and you can go to table and say insert below, and that will put the 3 rows below. Or you could go all the way to the end and tab, and it would put the new row in there for you. Okay, so 11 is Saturday. 12 is Sunday. And then there's a blank space at the bottom. Okay, so we're going to leave that like that. Now, Sunday is in red, so I can go in here and I can change my text color to red. So there is a nice red. And if you look at the original Hobonichi over here, the days of the week are actually really small. So you see they kind of fit right in there, and they're only 3 characters. So let me go over here, and I'm going to do a little bit of modification because mine are kind of big. So I'm going to go in here, and it's 12 point. I'll drop that down. Let's see if 10 is small enough. Nope, I want to go even smaller. I'll go down to 8 like that. So I can change that to 8 font, and that's better. Kind of fits right underneath the number. Okay, so we can do all of these if you are building this along with me. I'm going to kind of go and take each step so that you can build along with me, because I know you guys love building these pages, and I think it's fun too. I love when we can plan together like this. Okay. All right. Now, when you take a look at the one that I just completed over here, you see that I've actually added an extra column in here. And the reason that I did that is because in our diagram, or in our picture of the Hobonichi Weeks, there are actually really 3 sections through here. Okay, so let's go back over to the one that we are working on. And I am going to add a section in between here. So again, I just need to highlight that column. I can right click, go to table, say insert to the right, and it will put that extra column in there. Okay. All right. Now, if I wanted to, I could try to move this entire container so that it kind of fits on those grid lines that I have laid out there, you know, to kind of keep it lined up. It's not going to be perfect unless you find the exact font and the exact size to fit within these grid lines. I have not taken the time to do that. If you find the exact font and the exact size, please leave it in the comments below so that the rest of us will know. Some people, it may bother that the fonts don't line up. I'm not sure. I'm just trying to give you an idea of what that layout would look like. Okay? All right. So what I do want to do, though, is I do want to make these cells the same width. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here, I want to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here, and then this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, is already about the right size. Okay? There we go. Okay? So far, so good. Now, the other thing that I wanted to show you at the bottom of the Hobonichi Weeks is they have space down here for a quote. Okay? It is not divided into individual cells or anything like that. It is simply, you know, one big section. So I want to show you how to do that on the one that we are building here. If you go in to a table and you highlight the cells together, let's say the first 4 cells that are on this side, so all the way up to where it says 15th week, you highlight those like that. You can go up to table and you can say merge cells. Now watch what happens. Those individual lines between those cells are going to go away. like that. So now I have one big cell down here at the bottom. And if I come down here and I start typing the quick brown fox, jumped over, or whatever crazy sentence you want to type, you will notice that it does not stop at these normal column divisions. It continues going. So if you wanted to have a space there to put a quote or something like that, you certainly have the space to do that. And then if I go ahead and keep typing, you'll see that it will go all the way back to the beginning. Like that. Okay, so you have a space down there for your quote if that's what you want to do. Okay, all right, so far it's looking pretty close to what the Hobonichi weeks looks like here. So we have our days, we have our space down there for that, and over here on this side we can also make these columns bigger if we want. I can make my container bigger, and then I can again start counting if I want. So let's say we want to make that first section about that big, and these next two sections we want to make that big. We can. And if you're somebody who doesn't want them segmented like that and you want this big old space like they have here, again, all you have to do is highlight that area. You can highlight all three of them if you want. And you can go up here to table and say merge cells. And then you have just that big blank, beautiful space in which you can write. Okay? And so then it's looking very much like the Hobonichi Cousins. Okay, so the last thing that we have to add is that little calendar down in the corner that you see over here. I'm going to show you a shortcut or a quick way to be able to do that. If you have Google Calendar, let me bring up my Google Calendar here so you can see it. Okay, if you are somebody who has Google Calendar or you go into Google Calendar, you can go all the way over here to, you can show it different ways. But if you go down to year, okay, then you get this yearly calendar. And the reason that I'm using Google Calendar for this one instead of Calendarpedia is because Google Calendar automatically has these weeks along the side, okay? And so actually for here, for week 15, you see there is April 6th through the 12th, okay? So a quick way to do this is I'm going to take a screenshot of this particular page. So on my keyboard, I'm going to hit print screen, and it's going to take a picture. You saw that snap, okay? And then I get the picture that comes up, and it's coming up to me in Paint. So let me show you that. So now I have it here, just in the snipping tool. And if I want to, I can go in and I can crop that, okay? You see when I start to crop it, I get these little arrows on the side. Well, for this particular one, I want the month of April. So I am going to simply take my cropping tool and I'm going to get as close to it as I can. Like that. Okay, and I'm going to hit enter, or I can simply come here and copy this. Okay, so copy and close that out, and let's go back to drop that back down as well. Let's go back down here to our Hobonichi Weeks, and I'm going to click in this cell down here. Let me get it up so you can see it. I'm going to click in this cell and I'm going to say paste, and that puts that little tiny calendar right down there in the bottom for me. Okay, I think that's great. Now if I wanted to, I could also go up here and merge these two cells, or I simply could make the space a little bit bigger, But I have a feeling that there's something that I would like to write in there on a regular basis. So I'm actually going to leave those two there just so that you can remember at the bottom that this was individual cells that were then merged together. Okay? All right, so overall, I think if you take a look at the one that we created and the original, let's see if I can make this picture a little bit bigger for you guys to see. Okay, there we go. I got it lined up. All right, I think if you take a look at the original Hobonichi Weeks and the one that we kind of created for OneNote, I think that you'll see that they are very, very similar. And again, as with any weekly background, you can simply save this as a template if you want, and then just be able to go in and change these numbers and use it for whatever week that you would like to use it for. Okay? All right, well, leave me a comment down below and let me know what you think about this particular layout, the Hobonichi Weeks for OneNote. I think it's really kind of cool, and who knows, maybe this will be the one that I use for the month of April, because I just like to give these different weekly layouts a try, okay? All right, well, thanks so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. And remember, if you're a subscriber and you have a question or something that you would like to see me create in OneNote, go ahead and leave it in the comment below. We all love having ideas from each other and learning from each other. I really do appreciate each and every comment that I get, and I try to answer them as promptly as I can. And until next time, here's hoping that you can live a more simplified and organized life through better planning. I use OneNote. Until next time, okay, bye.